I did a check. I actually checked it. I actually clicked it before I went live, and it's bloody muted it. Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news. As we say, not again. He's muted himself again. But that's not what I was going to say not again about. What I was going to say not again about is surely Manchester United are not going to put themselves in a position where they miss out on key targets before a ball has been kicked. Some worrying concerns coming out around Cunha, around Delap, and how United might miss out on them. And I suppose that is compounded by a here we go this morning. Zubimendi, Arsenal, here we go, Fabrizio Romano. And it sort of blows holes in some theories around Cunha agreeing to come to Manchester United because he hasn't. He hasn't agreed to come to Manchester United. And I'll tell you why. Because when you read the updates from Romano around Zubimendi, it's here we go. Because Zubimendi has given verbal agreement that he will join Arsenal. There is no contract. There is no fee agreed with Sociedad. He's verbally told Arsenal he's going to them. And that's a here we go for Romano. So people putting it out there that Cunha has verbally told Man United he's coming and there's nothing to worry about. Well, why haven't we had a here we go then? Fabrizio will get the here we go before anybody. He would go here we go if we had a verbal agreement. So what's actually going on? Could this be Elise again? Why is Sir Jim Radcliffe getting involved? Also, we've got updates around Antony. We'll talk about that. Casemiro, we'll talk about that. Xerxes potentially being back for the final, but why it's not such a big update as well. And a few other bits to get into this morning. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to Members Club Lou. Hope you're doing well. Dean M's having sausages for breakfast. Sounds absolutely lovely. Sounds absolutely lovely. Right, Daniel said, relax, Mark, he's coming. Yeah, Daniel, the next time you want to make me relax around a transfer, maybe get 20 million followers on X and have a reputation for knowing what's going on, because you're just somebody like me with an opinion that doesn't actually mean anything and it's not going to work. It's like last night, somebody said to me, yo, don't worry about it, you'll beat Spurs, they bottle it. Oh, thanks, mine's a pint. I feel great now. You've put my mind at ease. The reality is we can all make predictions and God knows X is full of people who know nothing who pretend they do. But if we had a verbal agreement with Cunha, we'd already have a here we go. There is a hold up and I'll tell you what it is. The reality is I agree with Daniel, despite what I've just said. I do think we will get Cunha. I think there is too much noise around the deal. But I do not think that we have that deal done or anywhere near done in a verbal sense until we get here we go. Because as I said, Arsenal agree deal to sign Zubimendi from Sociedad, here we go. Zubimendi has now verbally agreed to sign a long-term deal. Formal steps must follow with Arsenal still to trigger the clause with Sociedad. So there you go. There is nothing signed and yet we have a here we go with Zubimendi. So we're not quite at that point with Cunha. Now what I would say is happening, and I pretty much know this is happening, is that if you see a house you really, really like, but you can't buy it until the end of the month, will you still go around looking at other houses, even though that's your dream house? Well, if you're intelligent, you will. If you're set on that house, you probably won't. But most people will go, I've got a spare weekend. That looks within my price range. I'll go and have a look at it. That is effectively what is happening with Cunha. We can't actually do the deal with Wolves until the end of the month. And therefore, Cunha can have his agent go and talk to other clubs as Man United and his agents figure out what it is they want. Now, people are quite rightly going to say, well, why can't we do what's happened with Zubimendi? Why can't we just get it done? Well, we can. Of course we can. But for some reason, we're not. And I would imagine there is a little bit to do with negotiation on wages, and that's why they're speaking to other clubs to see what they're going to offer. Ultimately, I think we are the dream move for Cunha. Ultimately, I think this will happen, but there is negotiating going on. We know George Mendes is involved. There is no verbal agreement with Cunha at the moment because we'd already have a here we go if we did, because that's happened with Zubimendi. What's going on is the finer details of the deal, and that's why we've not done it. And there might be a very big clue a week on Wednesday as to why we haven't got this over. Nobody ever thinks that it might be Man United. It might be Man United going, we can't commit to that bit of the deal. we can't commit to that bonus until we know if we're in the Champions League or not. For example, we might be offering him 200 grand a week and he might be happy with that. But they might want a clause in there that if we're in the Champions League, it goes up to 250 grand a week, or there's a bonus or something like that. And Man United might be saying, well, we can't do that until we know what happens a week on Wednesday. So look, I think with the Cunha deal, it wouldn't surprise me if we had a here we go this afternoon. I just feel like, look at Zubimendi this morning. You know him and Arsenal for a while, and it happens at first thing on a Saturday morning. I don't think there's any timescale or when this can happen. And I think look, going back to what I was going to say, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is actively involved in this. He is very, very involved in this, as are the people at the top of the club, because they really wanted Elise last year, and for numerous reasons they missed out on it. They absolutely know they've presided over a big, steaming, festering turd of a season. If it's your first season in charge and you're talking about putting the Manchester back into Manchester at the end of the day, and you as owner of the football... I mean, look, can I just give you a headline? We are in charge of the football side of things. There's no wiggle room there. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is in charge of the football side of things. He told us that a year ago. That was great when he was buying people like Yoro and Agate and Delap. I'm in charge of the football side of things. It's me. Well, okay, you're in charge of the football side of things. Let's have a look at the Premier League table then. So that is the thing that really matters, and that is why Sir Jim is sticking his boot in and going, what is going on with this deal? They do not want to lose this. I think we will get Cunha. I am not stressed. Me and Daniel are relaxed. What I'm saying is, people who are putting it out there that there's been a verbal agreement and he wants to come to Manchester United, it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. 2 weeks ago, I saw somebody say, signed, sealed and delivered, 5-year deal, 200 grand a week, Cunha is a Man United player. And I thought, fair play. In 2017, you might have got some followers, because what you've basically done is you've just guessed at everything we already know. It will be a 5-year deal. It will be around 200 grand a week, and it was probably going to be that week. But then it doesn't happen that week. You've guessed wrong, and you're wrong. People are just trying to guess. They're trying to get the exclusive on a deal that somebody else gave us the exclusive on 3 weeks ago. The exclusive on when he signs the deal is irrelevant. I'm sure it will happen, but he ain't ringing up an aggregator on X and going, I've agreed the deal, just don't tell anybody. He literally follows Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio will be in there. He will know when the deal is done, because that's the way it works around Man United at the moment. And at the moment, for whatever reason, we do not have a verbal agreement with Cunha that he's coming to Manchester United, because if we did, we'd have a here we go. My theory on that is just simply that there is something holding it up around money, and that could be around rewards, bonuses, whatever. Man United might just be a little bit, understandably, nervous around doing a deal before that Europa League final. Doesn't mean we won't, but there might be a bit of negotiating going on there, which, you know what, contracts are complex. There's brands, there's everybody involved, and even sticking something in a contract about, if you score 10 goals, we'll give you a 50 grand bonus only if we're in Europe. If we're not in Europe, we can't afford it. These things take time. Sorry, my throat's getting really croaky this morning. Is it high pollen or something? I don't know. Look, I am confident it will happen, but I think there has to be that warning that we've seen it. It's well timed with Zubimendi. That's what here we go is. Doesn't have to be signed. Doesn't have to be agreed with the club. Here we go basically means this deal's going to happen. And it can be as simple as a verbal agreement like Zubimendi's done with Arsenal. Romano looks an absolute prat if that doesn't happen now, so he obviously knows it's going to happen. We could have that verbal agreement, but you need to remember that we might be the people holding it up. We might be very nervous about what's going to happen in the Europa League final. I would hazard a guess that if we'd won the Europa League, this deal would be done. If we knew we were in the Champions League, this deal would be done. I just think there's a lot riding on that. And we all know that. And I think, therefore, negotiations. It's not just the player. I think it's the club as well. So, that's where we are. Is it true Arsenal are in for Cunha, says Rob Always United? I don't see him going to Arsenal. I mean, I think even Arsenal getting Zubimendi today, they've got to get a striker. They want another winger. That's a lot of spending. And if you look at Arsenal and they've got Rice, they'll still have Havertz, they'll still have Odegaard, they'll still have Moreno, they've got Zubimendi coming in. Obviously, they're going to have a striker coming in. They've got Saka, Martinelli, Trossard. They've got a lot of players, and then you're going to add Cunha. It's not really what they need. Look, they were interested in January. I can see why Cunha would want to come to Manchester United over Arsenal. Not because we're better, but I just don't think that. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. And I don't think he'll choose Newcastle over us either, because with all due respect to Newcastle, we're a bigger club. I think a lot of players would still choose Man United over Newcastle, even if Newcastle have got Champions League football. I still think a lot of players would choose us. People say you're having a laugh, but I still think that. I don't see anybody at the moment. But I also go back to what we were talking about there. Not again. Sir Jim Radcliffe is of the similar opinion, and that's not because I've spoken to Sir Jim. I mean, this is stuff coming out of the club. He does not want Man United missing out on their targets. Absolutely not. And I don't think we will miss out on this. I think Liam Delap's a better update because we've always been quite, well, we had the story on this, as you know. Liam Delap is Manchester United's transfer priority. He remains Manchester United's transfer priority. Why has he not done a here we go or a verbal agreement with Manchester United? Well, it's really, really simple. The story keeps going out there that Liam Delap hasn't decided where he wants to go. He's still weighing up his options, and it might be dependent on Champions League football. What we've been told is that's nonsense. Really, the story is Man United, as I said a few weeks ago, Man United are very confident that they've beaten Chelsea to Liam Delap, who are the biggest contenders for him. So Man United are very confident they've got Liam Delap. This is the priority. This is the player they want. But the reason, and I completely agree with this, the reason nothing's been done, he's already been relegated with Ipswich. The release clause is already active. You can do that here we go now. The reason Liam Delap is not signed for Manchester United is because, we'll look at it like this as an analogy, right? You are living your life, and you meet somebody you really, really like, and you get on, everything's great, and you're thinking about asking them to marry you. And then you hear it through the grapevine that the love of your life, who you had an amazing relationship with, is coming back to town in a couple of weeks. And they're free and single, and they're looking to mingle. And you're like, I'm just about to ask this person to marry me, but they're coming back in 2 weeks. What if I ask them to marry me? I'm a loyal person, and then they come back, and they're my dream again. What have I done? So you know what? I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait and see what happens in 2 weeks. I'm not going to make any promises to this person, and I'm not going to say I'm going for that person. When they come back, I'll have a look. I might be interested. They might not be interested. Whatever. It might not be compatible, in which case I'm happy and we'll go with this. And I think that's what's happening. I think United are looking at it and going, look, we've got Liam Delap. We're really happy with it. He is the priority. But in 2 weeks, we might have a load of money where we can knock on the door of somebody better and go, do you fancy it? No. Okay, we'll go with you. And I think that is very, very obvious what's happening here, because unless we get, and actually, I'll even add to that, if Man United did a here we go on Delap before the Europa League final, I'd be fuming. I'd be like, what are you doing? There are clearly options that are better than him if we win the Europa League. There is more money if we win the Europa League. We are more attractive if we win the Europa League. So, Man United without the Europa League, without winning the Europa League, is like walking into a pub, in your gardening gear and your stinker BO. Man United with the Champions League is like walking into the pub and you've got your best suit on, you've got your aftershave, haircut, well-groomed, everything. Everything. Everyone's looking at you. And why would you not wait? Why would you walk in your gardening gear stinking? Like, Man United, I understand that. There is the balance. If it's the right sort of player, you want to move. Like with Cunha, I want here we go now. I don't want to wait till after the Europa League, even though we probably are. But with Delap, I'm like, wait. Just wait, because you know what? What's that saying? The person who jumps in first. Look, at some point in the past, I always think about this. Who was the guy or girl who found out jumping into a creek in Australia, you might get eaten by a crocodile? You know, you're not born with that knowledge, are you? Somebody went in that creek and got ate by a crocodile and then the story started. Jumping in first isn't always the best. Sometimes it is. Like, Arsenal have jumped in, they've got Zubimendi done, no one else can get him, well done. Sometimes it is good to jump in first, you know? There's examples of that, isn't there? You know, the first one through the door, all right, there might be a big polar bear behind it, there might be a big pot of gold. You lock the door, it's your gold. No one else is coming in. So, I think that Trisfit says that's a bit grim. It's life, mate, unfortunately. But I completely agree with that. I don't know what you think, but I completely agree. I think that there will be people out there going, no, we need to get the deal done. There will be people like myself going, look, I think on Delap, you wait till after the Europa League final. On Cunha, you try and get it done before, because I just think there's so many... Oh, I've got a story from last night for you, actually. There are so many things around United at the moment, and I'm sure we're all going through it, where you're sort of like, this could be great. Oh, but it could be horrible. Like it's like, if we get Cunha, this is a great signing. But if he goes to somewhere else, oh, not again. If we beat Spurs in that final, it's going to be the best summer ever. If we lose to them, oh my God. I mean, can you imagine that end of season tour if we've lost to Spurs? What an absolute damp squib that will be. So, you know. Just quickly before we carry on with some of it, Robert McCormack says, I can see us regretting not getting Delap for 30 million. You might be right, Robert. You might be right. I saw something yesterday where somebody was saying Delap will be brilliant for Man United because he's really physical. And I thought, you know what? I can take any player and focus on their positives. I remember when Antony was coming to Man United, and I was convinced he was going to be absolutely transformative because of that wand of a left foot where he can put crosses into the back post, he can curl them in the top corner. He's going to be great. And he wasn't. He wasn't. And people told me Lukaku was going to be amazing at Man United because he's so physical, he's such a beast, he's so strong, he scores goals. Alexis Sanchez is going to be a superstar at Man United. And the reality is, look, maybe we will regret Liam Delap, maybe we won't. But what I would say to that is I won't regret not signing Liam Delap if we go and buy Gyökeres or a better striker. I think that's the best way I would say it. Yes, this is... I'm going to keep saying this. I'm not messing around. I was at an awards show last night for my daughter's football team. I was at the bar. That's where you'll find me. And one of the coaches came up to me and said, we're not friends. And I was like, why? He said, well, I'm a Spurs fan. And I went, no, you're absolutely correct. Enjoy your evening. We'll speak in 2 weeks. Because it's not banter. He understood that, and I understood that. It's not banter. It's real. I can't be bothered with, going, oh, Maddison, see you on the hockey. Well, we won't. He's injured. I don't want any part in this whole banter stuff. I'm actually very happy that I don't actually know closely that many Spurs content creators or anything like that, because I don't want to do the whole, oh, gloves off, who's gonna win, because I'm dead serious. I'm really serious. I don't care at all. Like, you think about the guy who does the podcast with James Alcott, Flav. He's a Spurs fan, right? I know him a little bit. If I saw him, I'd be okay. If he said, do you want to do a bit of content before, we can have a bit of a banter, and I'll have to say no. No, I don't. I know you're used to losing trophies, and I know your fan base can probably deal with it, right? I can't deal with losing this game. So I can't sit there with you and go, oh, banter. Oh, banter, just little soft punches. Banter, yeah, banter. Oh, if you lose, if we lose. I'm like, absolutely not. We're not talking if we lose. I'm not talking if we lose. If you beat us, I'm not going to go fair play, we've lost the Banter Cup. I ain't talking. I am deadly serious. This is real. The players need to realise it's real. I don't want to see in the tunnel, in fact, I'm glad Maddison's injured, because I don't want to see in the tunnel the English lads embracing and going best of luck. I want Roy Keane in that tunnel, walking up and down, and if anybody smiles at each other from the United team, he slaps them. Get out. This is really serious. And I don't know whether it's just me, but I am not pissing about on this. This is not banter. I am not interested in banter with Spurs. You know, leave that for talk shit and all that nonsense. I'm not. This is so serious. We've just spent 10 minutes talking about major transfer targets that will be massively impacted by winning the Europa League. I know because I've witnessed. I mean, I remember when we lost in 2009, I couldn't sleep. Rome, I was convinced we were going to win. And that was the start of the Barcelona journey. I was convinced we were going to win. I couldn't sleep. And that was losing a Champions League final when we'd won the league. And we went and won the league in the next year and I couldn't sleep. Standards. But I can't begin to think that I will be anywhere near positive for at least 3 months if we lose that. I can't understand how I deal with Man United not winning the Europa League. I can't understand how I come on the show and go, oh, we're going to get this guy from the Championship. He could be the next Tarkowski, because that's where I think we'll be shopping. Oh, don't worry next season. Not being in Europe will be fine. We're going to start our own solar panel business, and in the week, Bruno and Maguire will be coming around your house and putting them on the roof, and we'll be making 10% commission on it. I mean, we're going to have to find extra ways of making money. So, look, I just repeat it again. I am looking forward to that final, but I am not engaging in any banter or anything like that. It's too serious. I actually do not think that there is a game I can think of for a very long time with such enormous jeopardy, I suppose. Like, I know Man City was a bit similar last year. It was a bit similar last year. We needed to win to get into Europe, of course. But this feels worse because it's just like the abyss and it's Amorim's first summer. That would have been Ten Hag's third summer. This is Amorim's first summer. It's so important. This is bigger, much, much bigger. Yeah, I can't be bothered. Like, people keep saying to me, oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. Banter. I'm like, shut up. I don't want to do banter. I'm really revved for this. I'm not messing around. I won't feel sorry for Spurs if they lose. I'll be laughing. Actually, I won't be laughing. I'll be crying with ecstasy. Okay, either we are reborn or we finally hit rock bottom. Well, I think I put a tweet out yesterday. I'd actually had a couple of drinks, and I'm a poet and I don't know it. Just before I went out yesterday, this is what I said. United versus Spurs, 1 game more. Our entire season's on the line. The winner feasts, the loser faces a summer of soul searching. Prepare for a battle for survival. Bring it on. And I think it's true. I think all of that's true. It's look, recency bias or whatever. I remember 99. That felt like it was a date with destiny, and for a few minutes I thought we were going to miss it. This is a date with survival. I think it's I think we're on the edge. Either way, we are reborn or we hit rock bottom, says Keel. Thoughts on Scholes' comments? Amorim can learn from Arteta and he would swap seasons even if Man United win the Europa. I don't know, Peter. I want to talk about what Scholes said about Garnacho, actually, but I didn't know about that. Got to talk about Antony, got to talk about Xerxes. We've still got some topical stuff, but I'm going to go straight in on this. So I don't know this comment, Peter, and sometimes, look, you've got to be careful. Scholes, Arteta, Amorim. Okay, let's see if I can find it. Okay, I can't really see. I know I can find the thing I want to talk about. So Scholes says Amorim can learn from Arteta and he would swap seasons even if Man United won the Europa League, says Peter. Oh, well, I agree with that. I do agree with that. I think it's a very quick and easy one, and you can clip me up and you can get in your comments and you can have your say. Would I swap with Arsenal now? Yes, 100%, absolutely 100%. Like, that status, it's not about trophies. Like, I would swap today. I would swap with Arsenal, 100%. They've just got to a Champions League semi-final and they're going to finish second in the Premier League. They've got a better team. They've got better prospects. They're in the Champions League. They'll be in a title race next year. Of course, I would swap with Arsenal. We are about to play the Banter Cup, as people are calling it. We will probably finish 4th or 5th from bottom with Spurs, and the loser is staring into oblivion while the other one survives. I don't think next season everything's going to be all right. I think next season's going to be a battle. We need the money. So, look, I know people will go, trophies, but we haven't, what do trophies mean if the club is broken? We're a cup team who on our day who can beat everyone, but look at the league. The league is the bread and butter. I've always been brought up on that by Sir Alex Ferguson. The league is the thing that dictates what you are, because it's the thing you play 38 times, week in, week out, and it's the real test of what your character is. Look at where we are in the league. Look at where Arsenal are in the league. I know trophies are important, but we've won 2 trophies in the last 2 years. FA Cup, Carabao Cup. I don't need another trophy to go, oh, it's another trophy. I actually need the status. I actually need to know where we're going. And I would swap with Arsenal because, all right, some of them are Arteta out, but look at what they've just done. Zubimendi, they're going to buy a striker. I know what Arsenal's plan is. They want to win the Champions League. They want to win the Premier League. And they're very close. And they might not get there, but they want to, and they're very close. I want to win those trophies. I don't want to win the Europa League or the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. I don't mind it, but I don't want to win them. I want to win the Champions League and the Premier League. So I would swap places with Arsenal because the status of where they are says to me they're a far better side than us, going for better trophies than us. And I would rather be on that pathway, going for the big prizes, than keep going around this merry-go-round of going, we're shit, but we've won another trophy. But some people would take the trophies. So I think it's a great point, Peter. As for learning from Arteta, I don't know whether he needs to learn from Arteta. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe needs to learn from Arsenal and look at what they did. They allowed a manager to come in and get rid of big personalities like Aubameyang and Ozil, and they've backed him consistently over the last 5, 6, 7 years, however long he's been there. So I think Man United need to learn from Arsenal. Patience. The T-shirts were printed. Arteta out has been around for years. He's still there. So I think that's where we need to learn from Arsenal. But I don't mind that, because how many clubs learnt from us? If you think Man City's blueprint isn't based on Sir Alex's blueprint, you're a bloody idiot. If you think Chelsea's wasn't based on everybody copied our blueprint. Even Klopp has. And Liverpool fans might not want to hear that, but I think Jurgen Klopp actually, when he took over at Liverpool, was the closest thing to Sir Alex I've seen since Sir Alex, even though it's our rival. You can learn things from rivals and do it in a modern way. So I think we could learn a lot. This war is this is war in the finals, says Carlos. Liam says, if we lost to Spurs, I find it hard with the owners we have to ever see us getting back to the top. It'd be hard, Liam. Yeah, I agree. Cunha, Delap, and Mbumo in means no place for Rasmus as Enchanted Angel. I mean, I get tired of the amount of times I have to explain this. It's the same people who say, if we buy Edison and Cunha, what happens to Mainu? Well, he retires and takes up golf then, does he? I mean, what's he talking about? Cunha, Delap and Mbumo means no place for Rasmus. Only one of them play in his position and they're 22 as well. How's about we need 2 strikers? Same with Mainu. Like, how's about we need, how many injuries have we had this season? Like, you need a squad. I don't care about, don't buy this player because what happens to Ahmad? Don't buy this player because what happens to Mazraoui? We have competition for places. How many times? Look at the bench against Spurs. The kids. Like, you need competition for places. I don't agree that buying one player means it's over for another player. What it actually means is you've got competition for places in key areas. Is it true Arsenal in for Cunha? We've done that. We've seen last year that Ineos transfer tactics are negotiation heavy. Look how long it took to get most of our transfers last year. You don't penny pinch and then go all out on deals. I think Patrick is absolutely nailed it again. When we go back to what we were talking about Cunha, if we had a verbal agreement with Cunha, we would have a here we go. Zubimendi's done a verbal agreement and it's a here we go. That's not been signed. They haven't even agreed a deal with Sociedad Arsenal, but here we go is there because Zubimendi has verbally told Arsenal he will join. People are putting out there that Cunha's verbally told Man United that he wants to join them. Has he bollocks? Because if we had that, Fabrizio's writing 3 words. We are, like Patrick said, negotiation heavy. Agate, Delap, Mazraoui, about 6-8 weeks they took to do from when it was broken. Yoro moved quite quick on Yoro, but it was because of Real Madrid. Xerxes took a long time as well. So we do take a long time. We've always took a long time, and even with the emergence of Sir Jim, that we still take a long time. So I don't think United. I think it's going to be rare when we move quickly on deals, unfortunately. But as I say, I still think we will get him. I think we're holding off until the final, says Keel. Oh, you just said it. United are spinning in my opinion, says Keel. It's a worry, to be honest. We are failing as a club to bring these class players in. I blame the owners for this mess. Let's win the Europa, says Wesley. Well, look, I'm going to do a video on Zubimendi on That's Football straight after this, but I think the transfer window this year, and it does work on the United stand as well, I think the transfer window this year is going to be the best we've seen in years. I genuinely think that the last couple haven't been that good, generally. They have been okay for us, but I think you're going to see so much going on this summer, and it's almost started already, hasn't it, really? Thank you very much for that. Okay, just very quickly on Xerxes, he was talking to Alphonso Davies and basically said that it's going to be difficult, but he's trying to get back fit for the final. I think we need a little bit of realism here. I sort of touched on it yesterday. Getting back for the final, what relevancy is it unless he's just a 10-minute option off the bench? Like, Xerxes has a bad injury, hasn't played since Newcastle away, and might be back in time for the final. He's not back yet. The final is a week on Wednesday. He probably won't be back for the Chelsea game either, because he's not going to be able to turn that around quick enough. At best, he will make the bench. We're in that avenue now, I'm afraid, where people saying they're trying to get back for the final, you need to be on the training pitch now. Like, Delap and Delap need to be training now to have any chance of being involved for the final, i.e. play an hour, start the game. We're a week and a half out. I don't think people realise when you come back from injury, you're in the gym, you're individually training, then you're training on the grass, then you're training with the team, then you've got to get sharpness up. I'm getting back for the final doesn't really mean anything now. Like, it's too close. At best, Xerxes might make the bench and be there for 10 minutes. We're talking about players that are going to start minute one, fit and ready to win the biggest game we've had in years. So it would be great if Xerxes can get back, but if I'm being completely honest, it's a bit like the banter with Spurs. I'm not that interested because I'm talking about minute one, not the 80th minute. If we're throwing Xerxes on in the 80th minute, we're in trouble. So I'm thinking about who's fit for the start of the game, and I might be back in time for the final. Is not going to be back in time for that, is it? Let's be really clear. And also, as I said, you know, we sort of got the exclusive on this that Delap was going to be back for the final, but in what state is he going to be back for the final? Like, really, they need to be... I would love to see Delap start because it gives us better balance. It pulls Mazraoui into the back, which I think is really important. I think people like Mazraoui and Delap are just so super reliable and consistent. If you put them in your defence, you feel you're going to be super reliable and consistent. So I would love Delap to be back, but as I say, it's a week and a half away. Where are you? You know, you've got to play against Chelsea. You've got to get minutes against Chelsea. That's 6 days away. People don't understand the concept of squad building, says Walking Alive. Would you take James Trafford, says Liam Vernon. Look, I've seen some comments from Onana, and I'm purposely not focusing in on them. I've seen people in the chat there. He basically has done an interview saying that a couple of things, really, that he's sort of had a bit of ridicule for. One of them was that Van der Sar had said something along the lines to him that don't worry about mistakes because there's always another day. And then also he said that Manuel Neuer is responsible for the goalkeeper he is today because he sort of showed him that you can be more than a goalkeeper. And of course, people have jumped in and gone, Manuel Neuer's not claiming you. And, you know, look, he's going to start in the final. There's a lot of conversation to be had about a lot of players after the final. It's a week and a half away. Onana's our goalkeeper. He's my goalkeeper. I back him. We need him to have the game of his life. Now, in the Champions League final for Inter, I thought he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He can do it. We need him to do it. That's all I'm bothered about. Afterwards, I will tell you the truth about what I think we should do, regardless of how well he plays. But for the next week and a half, he's my goalkeeper, and all I'm interested in is him having the game of his life, because we're going to need it. He's going to have to make saves. He's going to have to come for crosses. We need him to have a good game, absolutely. I don't want to jinx us, but the final is also my 29th birthday, so I'm praying to God we win the final. I've said all year we will win the Europa, says Jordan. Well done, pal. Do you think Lobotka can join United, says Chris? I've not heard anything about that. Either we are reborn, or done that from Kiel. Antony, just quickly, it is a news show this morning. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe, by the way. Get your comments in as usual. So, in relation to Antony, just a couple of updates here. The president of Betis has said we're keeping Antony. Keeping Antony is very, very complicated. We will negotiate with Manchester United to extend the loan. Now, I don't know what he means about complications because I love the shirt, Mark, says Carl. Thank you. It's actually brand new. I have worn these types of shirts before. They're very nice in the summer because they're very feather-light mesh, I think they are, or something like that. They're just very cool in the hot weather. And I don't mean looking cool. But in relation to Antony, I don't understand why it's complicated for Betis to sign Antony, and I don't understand why they're talking about extending the loan. I don't know the intricacies of that deal. I'm a little bit concerned from a sale point of view that we might have said to Betis, you're doing us a favour taking him. If it goes well, you can have him again on loan. I don't know whether that's there because I can't understand why Man United, I can't understand why the president of Betis is saying we'll try to get him on loan again because we wouldn't do it. Like, I think you need to understand what Antony has done in Spain and his reputation in Spain. Like, they're in the final of the Conference League. He's been brilliant in La Liga. They're fighting for top 5, I think, themselves. He's done really well. Like, there are clubs like Atletico Madrid legitimately looking at him and looking to pay money for him. So it's very much like, well, I don't need to do an analogy. It's like having a player you want to sell that you think nobody will want, sending them on loan for 6 months. They become one of the best form players in the league they're playing in. And then when they come back in the summer, instead of selling them, you send them on loan again. The time is now. You cash out. The time is now. Whatever you think about Antony, whatever you think about Betis, he is absolutely probably not going to repeat that next season. What he's done in 6 months is incredible. The goals, the impact, the season Betis are having, he's right up there. And if we go, yeah, let's loan him out again, the chances are in a year's time, he might have come down again. Now is the time. His star is shining bright. World Cup year next year. 60 million, I don't think we'd get that. But I think to break even, we only need 30. I think you can get 40 and cash out. Why not? Why not? So I think that I appreciate what Betis have done, but ultimately, pay up or get out the room, you know. Shit or get off the potty. It's as simple as that. And I think Antony, with all due respect, I don't think Antony, if Atletico Madrid come knocking, is going to go, yeah, I'm really happy at Betis, I'll stay here. He's still got an opportunity to get back into the Brazilian World Cup squad. They've got a new manager. Atletico Madrid is far more Look, basically, it's what Mason Greenwood did, isn't it? And you can't knock that. Mason Greenwood had a good year in Spain, and then it was like, where do I go next? And I think Antony, we need to just push the price up as high as we can. And maybe that's what Betis are talking about. They just can't afford it. But look, that's life, isn't it? You know, that is life. Sometimes you are a business where you nurture talent and then they leave you to go off somewhere else. You know, that's just the way life works. You just have to move on and carry on doing what you're doing. I do feel for Betis because they've given him a platform and he's done really well. But life doesn't work like that, very rarely, especially not in football. Like, you know, Betis and Man United are not going to... Man United and Antony aren't going to go, you know what, you've made Antony, you know, what he is. So we owe you. You can just have him for free for another year. We're not going to do that. Antony's not going to do that. So, Keel says, can't Betis pay in instalments? I don't think that'll happen. I don't think Antony will want to stay at Betis if good offers come in. We're not a charity, says Sir Jim Radcliffe, and it could be the real one. Mikael says, are you doing any watch-alongs today? I'm going to go and do a video on That's Football about Zubimendi in a minute, and then I'm going to do Bournemouth Villa tonight. Obviously United, West Ham tomorrow. We'll get the preview up at 2. And United, West Ham tomorrow, and then I'm going to do Liverpool, Arsenal. So, yeah. Lovely weekend, though. I haven't looked at the weather. I think it's a bit boring to talk about the weather, but it's going to be a nice weekend. I've got me. Look at this. Look at this for a combo. What do you think about this? Look at the old. They're actually shorts. Yeah, look at that. Colours. What could do the chair look? Don't do that. Don't do that. So we're ready to go. I'm going to put the shades on in a minute. Not because I'm one of them twats who wears shades when United win games or Arsenal win games. I'll never understand that shade meme thing. I think it's stupid. But I wear sunshades not for memes. I wear them because it's sunny outside and it protects my eyes and makes me look good. Can't bet it's paying someone will do that. There was something else I wanted to talk about. It's been a brilliant show this morning. Lap dance bridge, yeah. I usually skip this part, says Unknown. There was something else I wanted to talk about. We've spoken about that. Scholes, yes. Paul Scholes again. I was listening to a clip about what Scholes said about Garnacho. And basically, I'm sort of coming round to this as well. Well, you know I am. I've been saying it for weeks, and I think a lot of you are as well. What Paul Scholes said is I basically fear that Man United will cash in on Garnacho in the summer. They'll take £50 million for him because it's pure profit. He'll go to play for somebody else. He'll start scoring loads of goals, and they'll regret it. And I completely agree. I absolutely agree with that. I know... I've played the game, and I know you can't be right all the time. You can't be right. I can't say I'm 100% right on this, but I'm absolutely convinced if we sell Garnacho, he'll go somewhere else and we'll regret it. I'm convinced. And I'll tell you why. Because I've seen enough of him over the last 2 years to realise that people might not rate him as a talent. People might get frustrated with his selfishness, whatever. But... mentality-wise, he's one of the best players we've got. Like, he's never injured. He always fronts up. He's amazingly dedicated to his football. All right, he's got immense self-belief, but so do all the best. I think he'll go somewhere else and thrive. I'm absolutely convinced about it. I didn't expect it to happen with Elanga, and fair play that it did. But with someone like Garnacho, I think he will go somewhere else and absolutely thrive. And I agree with Scholes on that. I agree. We shouldn't be doing it. It's a mistake. But I also agree with what he said, because sometimes in life you can make a statement like that and then explain why you think it's going to happen. I don't know whether he fits into the system. I think this is... obviously, United want to do it for money. You know, Sir Jim and everyone wants to do it because it's pure profit. That's the most idiotic reason in the world. You know, you shouldn't be doing it for money. But I think it's going to happen because, as well... he doesn't suit the system. You know, like, he can't play the wing-back winger role because it doesn't suit him the same way it doesn't suit Rashford or Antony. And I'm not sure he can play the 10 role because I don't think it really suits who he is. So you're sort of stuck in this position where I actually think he probably will go in the summer because he doesn't suit the system. I hope not. Like Shibo says, he can grow into the system, and I hope that's going to happen because I'm absolutely convinced that the £50 million we take, or the 40 million or the 45, will be a drop in the ocean to what he's worth in 3 or 4 years' time. But I do agree with Scholesy on that. I don't want it to happen. It shouldn't be happening. I think he'll go off and do really, really well. But you look at it and you go, where's he going to fit in this system? I know he's only 20, and it's the same with Mainu, and he can develop. But I do really think he's a winger, and we don't actually have a winger. So look, I don't know, but I thought I'd bring it in because I sort of think it's, you know, it's possible. I think this summer is going to be very interesting. Andre says, why aren't we regretting letting McTominay go? Because Amorim didn't let him go. It happened when Ten Hag was here, and it's a set of circumstances that we can't regret because too many things have happened since then. It's too complicated to regret selling McTominay. You can wish he was still here, but you can't regret selling McTominay because it happened so long ago with so many different people. We basically sold McTominay to raise money for Agate because that's what Ineos wanted. Even Ten Hag didn't want to sell McTominay, but Ten Hag has now been sacked. So it's just too far ago, even though it's only 12 months. Too many different people involved that aren't here anymore. you can't really regret it because it wasn't made by anybody who's actually at the club now. It might have been Ashworth. It might have been Wilcox. It might have been Favel, Barada. I don't know who it was who pushed it, but Ten Hag didn't want it. And also, McTominay wanted it. Like, he wanted to go and play football, which people forget. So you can wish he was still here, but you can't regret it because he wanted to go. Ten Hag didn't want him to go. And whoever at Ineos, and I don't know who it was, pushed the deal. So yeah, it's you can't really look back and regret it because the people who made the decision probably aren't even here anymore. Are you going to cry if Man United win the Europa League? Says Darren. I don't know, Darren. I don't script anything. I think you just get, I'll cry if we don't win it. I'll definitely cry if we don't win it. It makes me nervous, Darren. I don't want to imagine my emotions because the minute I imagine the elation, because I'm imagining it, my brain automatically goes, imagine the desolation as well. Thank you very much, Michael. Would you take James Trafford, says Liam. I don't know about James Trafford. I think he's a good player, but I don't know. I'll trust Manchester United, really, in relation to what they do. Constantine says, I believe we are favourites against Tottenham. They're absolutely dreadful this season and players seem to always show up for the big show, but go missing against West Ham. Thank you very much for that. Maybe United are waiting to announce the Cunha just before the final to help with positivity, says Dan. Impossible. Impossible, impossible, impossible. Why is it impossible, Dan? Because we're Manchester United. We can't keep secrets. It's impossible for Manchester United to keep the Cunha deal quiet for 2 weeks. Just absolutely impossible. We can't do that. Liverpool can do it. Liverpool can be not linked to a player at dinner time and then signed, sealed and delivered by tea time. But Man United can't keep it. We can't keep secret. I'd love it. I'd love you to be right. I'd love you to be right. But I don't want to give false hope because we're not capable of doing that. I know Onana is going to sabotage us. His shits, his Tusher. Imagine being a player at Man United who knows if you win that Europa League final, you're probably going to get sold. Don't pick them. Do not pick them. Sabotage. No. I don't agree with that because I think if you're someone like Onana, for example, and you think if you win the final, you're going to get sold, you don't know that. And also, if you play well in the final and you're man of the match, people will say, don't sell him, he's a legend. So I don't for 1 minute think sabotage. It's one of the biggest games of their careers. He's never won a European final. Everyone's going to be motivated for this. Harry Maguire's never won a European final, obviously lost before with Ollie. None of them have won a European final, actually, have they? I don't think. I'm trying to think about the players that we've brought in the last few years. Oh, Mount has. Mount's won one. Mazraoui, Delap, don't think they've won a European final. Bruno definitely hasn't. Mount, Agate, no. Yeah. Luke Shaw, but Luke Shaw was injured. Yeah, I saw a clip of that the other day. Luke Shaw was on crutches, so I don't think that necessary. Casemiro, of course, yeah, we forget about Casemiro. Actually, I saw a story with Casemiro staying at Man United this morning. We've been talking about. We are getting some absolute brilliant bits of information over the last few months. Absolutely brilliant. Big shout out to the people who watch and give us it because we're getting some crackers. But yeah, Casemiro, I think, I don't even know why people think. I just think it's lazy to talk about Casemiro going. It completely and utterly ignores what we've had happen for the last two transfer windows. Man United have been trying to get Casemiro for 2 windows. He won't go because he's on big money and he has a contract and he's settled in Manchester. He doesn't want to go. So there is, I think what's going to happen with Casemiro, we probably could sell him. I think there'll be a lot of clubs, especially in Saudi, that would want him now. But Casemiro is like, you gave me a contract. It's a very good contract. And I'm happy in Manchester. I will stay here till the end of my contract. And then you will get nothing. And I will negotiate where I want to go. And You can't argue with that. And there's nobody at fault for that other than maybe the people who gave him the deal in the first place, but they're not here anymore either. So Casemiro will not be going in the summer. I don't know why people keep talking about it. It's like breaking news. Casemiro could stay. Well, of course he's going to bloody stay. Look at the circumstances. And on the last few weeks, if there's one player I'd keep just because of what they've done, it probably would be him. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Get your comments in as well. Really appreciate it as always. We have got an 8 o'clock show tonight and it is me. Big up for Terry stepping in last night. I was obviously out, but I am around for tonight. We will get the preview up at 2. And I am doing a watch along for Bournemouth against Villa at 5:30 on That's Football. What are your thoughts on Frimpong release clause, says Jonas? It's been there for a while. I would love Manchester United to move for him, but at the moment, I don't think there's any indication that we will. Maybe that's another deal that we might swoop in and do if we win the Europa League. And remember, as I keep saying to you, in the middle of June last year, so over a month away, in the middle of June last year, we hadn't even been linked to Yoro, Agate, Mazraoui, and Delap. So people who were trying to figure out our summer transfer window on the 10th of May, if you look at last summer, we didn't know our targets till middle of June. So there could be people like that just suddenly appear, and I hope there are, because I think that's exciting. Take care, everyone. Speak to you all in a bit.